Think history is just kings, wars, and dusty old scrolls? Think again. The past is packed with stories so insane they sound made up, like a general chased by bunnies, pigs on trial, and a war over a wooden bucket. These aren't movie plots, they're real events that actually happened. Today we're diving into the weirdest moments in history that never made it into your textbooks. Get ready, because we're about to rewrite everything you thought you knew about the past. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Napoleon Bonaparte, the military genius who conquered Europe. You'd think only a massive army or a brutal winter could defeat him. Wrong. In 1807, after a big victory, Napoleon celebrated with a rabbit hunt. His chief of staff, Berthier, gathered thousands of domesticated rabbits for the event. When the cages opened, instead of fleeing, the rabbits charged at Napoleon and his officers. These bunnies saw humans as food givers, not threats. Suddenly, Napoleon was swarmed by a relentless wave of fluffy attackers. He tried to shoo them away, but there were just too many. The rabbits even flanked his group like a real military maneuver. Napoleon was forced to retreat to his carriage, with rabbits in hot pursuit. Some even leapt into the carriage with him. The coachman had to whip the horses to escape the furry horde. The conqueror of Europe, driven off the field by bunnies. Imagine being one of his soldiers and seeing that. It's a hilarious reminder that history is stranger than fiction. The most powerful man in the world, defeated by bunnies. You can't make this stuff up. Next time you think of Napoleon as invincible, remember the day he lost to rabbits. Sometimes history's greatest battles are also its most ridiculous. And that's just the beginning. On to the next bizarre tale. If you thought the rabbit army was weird, get ready for this: animals on trial. In medieval Europe, animals were actually put on trial for crimes. Seriously, pigs, rats, even insects could be arrested, given lawyers, and tried in court. The charges ranged from property damage to murder. There are records of pigs being executed for killing children and lawyers arguing that rats missed court because they feared local cats. Sometimes animals were dressed in clothes and brought before judges. If found guilty, the punishments were brutal: hanging, burning, even burial alive. In one case, a rooster was burned at the stake for laying an egg, which people thought could hatch a monster. This wasn't a joke, it was the legal system. People believed animals had moral agency and could be evil. It's a bizarre window into a world where the line between human and animal was blurry. A pig in a waistcoat, on trial for its life. History is wild. These trials show just how differently people once saw the world. Today it sounds absurd, but back then, it was deadly serious. The next time you see a courtroom drama, imagine a pig as the defendant. That's the kind of history they never teach you in school. Ready for another unbelievable story? Let's keep going. Wars are usually fought for land or power, but one war started over a wooden bucket. In 1325, the Italian cities of Modena and Bologna were bitter rivals. Tensions were high, and all it took was a prank to set things off. Modenese soldiers snuck into Bologna and stole a plain oak bucket from the city well. They paraded it as a trophy, mocking Bologna. Outraged, Bologna demanded the bucket's return. Modena refused, so Bologna declared war, over a bucket. Bologna raised an army of 32,000, Modena had just 7,000. Against the odds, Modena won the bloody Battle of Zappolino. Over 2,000 people died, all because of a stolen bucket. Modena kept the bucket as a symbol of victory. To this day, that same bucket is on display in Modena. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest things can spark the biggest conflicts. A war over a bucket. History doesn't get much stranger. Next time you hear about a petty argument, remember this story. The past is full of ridiculous reasons for war. And yes, you can still visit the infamous bucket. Sometimes the most ordinary objects have the wildest stories. Let's see what other absurdities history has in store. Onward! History is full of mysterious deaths, but few are as puzzling as King Charles V of Sweden. Known for his bravery, Charles led his troops from the front lines. In 1718, during a siege in Norway, he was shot in the head and killed instantly. The official story, a stray enemy bullet. But rumors spread. Was it really enemy fire, or an inside job? The wound's trajectory seemed odd for a shot from the fortress. Many believed his own men, tired of endless war, wanted him gone. His death ended the war and brought a peace-minded ruler to the throne. Theories about assassination persist to this day. His body was exhumed 3 times, but the mystery remains unsolved. Was it a lucky shot or a planned killing? We'll probably never know. The Lion of the North's death is a cold case, one of history's great unsolved mysteries. Sometimes the truth is lost to time. Think cancel culture is new? Henry VIII was erasing people long before Photoshop. When he was done with you, he didn't just break up, he wiped you from history. After Anne Boleyn's execution, Henry ordered her portraits destroyed and her initials chiseled off palace walls. Workers scoured the kingdom, erasing her from tapestries, stained glass and paintings. In family portraits, Anne was painted over and replaced with his next wife. Henry's campaign was so thorough we barely know what Anne looked like. This wasn't just a breakup, it was a political move to legitimize his new marriage and delegitimize his daughter Elizabeth. By controlling the visual record, Henry rewrote history to suit his needs. It's a chilling reminder. History is often edited by those in power. Long before digital tools, rulers were masters of manipulating reality. The next time you crop someone out of a photo, remember Henry VIII did it first, just with a lot more drama. The past is full of deleted stories, and sometimes the eraser is mightier than the sword. On to the next strange chapter. Ancient Egypt gave us pyramids, mummies, and beetle therapy. Scarab beetles were sacred symbols, but Egyptians also believed they had healing powers. Medical texts like the Ebers Papyrus included beetle-based remedies. Some treatments called for boiling beetles in oil and drinking the concoction. Others involved tying live beetles to the body to transfer their life force. There were even beetle cakes and beetle powders for various ailments. Today we know these cures were pure magical thinking, but back then, medicine and magic were deeply intertwined. The scarab symbolism of rebirth made it a go-to cure. It's a fascinating and slightly gross look at ancient medicine. Even the greatest civilizations had their weird side. Sometimes history's remedies are stranger than the diseases. Let's see what else the past has cooked up. Imagine walking into a pharmacy in the 1830s and getting a bottle of ketchup for your stomachache. Back then, ketchup wasn't just a condiment, it was sold as medicine. Dr. John Cook Bennett claimed tomato ketchup could cure everything from indigestion to rheumatism. He even turned it into ketchup pills, which became wildly popular. Soon, pharmacies everywhere sold tomato extract as a miracle cure. Ads promised it would fix any ailment. For a while, ketchup was more medicine than food. Of course, it was all a scam. Tomatoes are healthy, but not a cure-all. The fad faded when people realized ketchup wasn't working. By the late 1800s, ketchup became the sweet condiment we know today. So next time you reach for ketchup, remember its bizarre past as a doctor's prescription. History is full of strange remedies. Sometimes the cure is weirder than the disease, and sometimes it's just ketchup. On to the next wild story. You won't believe what's next. Think you've seen a wild wedding? Try a palace made entirely of ice. In 18th century Russia, Empress Anna forced a disgraced prince to marry a maidservant as a cruel joke. She built a massive ice palace on the frozen Neva River for the ceremony. Everything, walls, furniture, even the bed, was made of ice. The couple was paraded through the streets, then locked inside the freezing palace overnight, dressed as clowns. Guards made sure they couldn't escape. The bride survived by trading a necklace for a sheepskin coat. The event was the talk of Europe, a chilling display of royal power and cruelty, a wedding as punishment, a palace as a prison. Sometimes history's parties are more like nightmares. The coldest wedding on record, literally, and a reminder that power can be as icy as the Neva. Let's wrap up with one last look at history's madness. So, there you have it. Bunnies defeating generals' pigs on trial wars over buckets and weddings in ice palaces. History isn't just facts and dates. It's full of madness and mystery. These stories are just the beginning. There are hundreds more waiting to be uncovered. The past is chaotic, hilarious, and sometimes terrifying. Want more forgotten stories? Hit subscribe and let us know which fact blew your mind. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay curious. History is always stranger than fiction.